This year was a record-setting year for the MLB Pre-Arbitration Performance Bonus Program, which saw 101 players in Major League Baseball get this bonus, and Paul Skenes, of course, set the record. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what the Pre-Arbitration Performance Bonus Program is, how a player can qualify for it, and then we'll cover the top 5 players or recipients from this year's bonus pool, and break down exactly how much they received and why. And before we get into exactly what this bonus pool program is, here is the list of the top 20 recipients from this season. Paul Skenes, as I described, set a new record, which is $3.436 million as a total bonus. Rounding out the top 20 is Dylan Dingler from the Detroit Tigers, who received $549,000 from this pool. And when looking at this list, there were 13 guys that made a bonus that was equal to or greater than their total salary for the year. The league average minimum salary for MLB in 2025 was $760,000. Everyone from Michael Garcia onward made a bonus equal to or greater than their total salary for the year. And out of the 101 players that received a bonus this year, the lowest bonus received was from the Nationals outfielder Dalen Lyle, who received a bonus of $150,000. Now, getting into the details of how someone qualifies for this bonus, looking at the current collective bargaining agreement for MLB, which runs from 2022 through next season, the end of 2026, this was one of the pieces that the owners and the players were going back and forth with that caused a bit of a delay in spring training 2022. And this is something awesome that was added to this most recent CBA. It's trying to get players that are not yet arbitration eligible but are still performing at a high level to be able to get a little more pay than the guys that aren't quite performing. So starting off, to be eligible for the performance bonus program, at the start of every season, you have to have less than 3 years of cumulative credited major league service, and those who have not qualified for salary arbitration as a Super 2. This also states that players are not eligible if you sign as a foreign professional or if you're an extended free agent. So for example, when Shohei signed over or Shota Imanaga signed from Japan, those players would not qualify. And also someone like Julio Rodriguez, who in 2022 made his debut, but then was extended. He does not qualify for this bonus program because of that extension. And like I mentioned, what's great about this is that this is based on their performance from that season, which allows the higher producing guys to make a little bit more cash. So the total amount that is allocated towards this pre-arbitration pool is $50 million. And this states that the pool of money is funded centrally by the Office of the Commissioner. Essentially, all 30 MLB teams chip in $1.67 million into this pot to equal the $50 million. And what I'll add about this total $50 million pool is that during the CBA negotiations, the owners were wanting a flat $50 million, not to increase year after year over the life of the CBA, whereas the players were hoping for a $65 million pool, which would increase by $5 million per year over each of those first 4 to 5 years from 2022 through 2026. As you can see here, the owners won out on this part as it is set at $50 million and it does not increase on an annual basis. Now, getting into the distribution of these funds. After each season, no later than December 31st, the pre-arbitration pool shall be distributed among eligible players based on their performance in that season using the following criteria. There are 2 different phases of payouts. First is the awards phase, then there is the statistical phase. First off is the awards phase, and as you can see here, the players that place or win a certain award get a heavy chunk of money. If a player were to win MVP or Cy Young, they would get $2.5 million as the award phase. Paul Skenes ended up winning the National League Cy Young Award, which is why he ended up getting a $2.5 million awards phase bonus. If you place second in one of these categories, you'd get $1.75 million. Third place in each of these would be $1.5 million. Then if you're voted 4th or 5th in MLB or Cy Young voting, or if you're selected to the All-MLB first team, then you would get a $1 million bonus. Rookie of the Year first place would equal $750,000, and then second place Rookie of the Year or second team All-MLB would be a $500,000 bonus. Then let's say you won Cy Young and MVP. Well, you wouldn't actually get a $5 million bonus because you won both of those. You would only receive one payment. No eligible player shall receive compensation from the pre-arbitration pool for more than one award in a single year. Then it states, should an eligible player qualify for multiple bonuses based on the table above the same year, the player shall receive only the highest single bonus amount from which he qualified. Then it states, to illustrate, if an eligible player finished 3rd in MVP voting and 2nd in Rookie of the Year in the same season, he would receive $1.5 million because 3rd in MVP would be higher than Rookie of the Year. After the awards phase, it then moves to the statistical phase, which states that any and all remaining monies in the pre-arbitration pool after distributing bonuses during the awards phase described in subsection A will be allocated among eligible players who rank in the top 100 in wins above replacement as calculated by the pre-arbitration committee pursuant to section 4 below, which it states is a joint wins above replacement. So it takes an average of wins above replacement across various sources. And the calculation that it lays out here is above will be multiplied by a fraction, the numerator of which is the joint wins above replacement accrued by that player eligible in the relevant season, and the denominator of which is the total joint wins above replacement accrued by all eligible players who qualify for a bonus in this phase during that season. So to figure out exactly how much a player is going to make from the statistical phase, it's from this formula below. It's the remaining funds times the player A joint wins above replacement over total joint wins above replacement. And as it states more about the joint wins above replacement calculation, they came up with the joint WAR calculation in 2022, and in future years, both parties would have to agree on any changes. There's also a pre-arbitration committee that meets within 2 weeks of the conclusion of each season to review the preliminary calculation of joint wins above replacement for all eligible players. The calculation is to be finalized for each season within 5 business days of the announcement of final awards. And then throughout the season, the pre-arbitration committee will actually distribute 2 preliminary reports during the season to players, clubs, certified player agents that provide the joint wins above replacement rankings and accumulated joint WAR for all eligible players up to that point. The first interim report will be distributed in the week preceding the All-Star game, and then the second interim report will be distributed between September 1st and September 10th. Then the final report will be distributed to players, clubs, and certified player agents that provides the final joint WAR rankings, accumulated joint WAR, and resultant bonus amounts for all eligible players within 5 business days of the announcement of final awards. And what's interesting here is that the reference document will not contain the formula itself, any underlying data, or any such information that would allow a non-association or commissioner's office staff member or system to reverse engineer the results. So essentially, the document that is sent out to all of these individuals are just the end results, and it's not the actual calculation of how they come up with those numbers. It goes into the further detail of how the data is going to be distributed and managed throughout the season. And it also adds that the commissioner's office is permitted to make modifications to the calculation of outs above average and other metrics published by Baseball Savant, but will provide prompt notice to the association following any such modification and shall meet with the association to discuss changes upon request. It then goes deeper into how they're going to track the statistics, and it states that for any position player that ranks within the top 200 of the ranking and joint WAR, the commissioner's office shall provide the association with a consolidated report that details the run value allocated to the player on each play in which the player is given a credit or debit under the calculation of outs above average. So the players will know throughout the season exactly where they stand, and this leads to Paul Skenes setting the record for the highest pre-arbitration bonus of $3,436,343 as a total bonus. As I described earlier, he was the winner of the National League Cy Young, which allocated a $2.5 million bonus, and then on top of this, from the statistical calculations, he earned an additional $936,343. So if a player makes his debut, is pre-arbitration, and is maintaining a league average salary, if they are one of the best players in baseball, they will get paid like one of the best players in baseball. Of course, even when he moves to arbitration, he will make more than this money on an annual basis, but this allows the pre-arbitration guys, the guys under club control, to get a nice chunk of change after the season ends. And so this leads to number 2 on the list, who is Cristopher Sánchez. He made a total pre-arb bonus of $2,678,437. He had a huge season. He placed second in National League Cy Young voting, which awarded him a $1.75 million bonus. He then received an additional $928,437 from the statistical phase. That's pretty wild that 2 of the top pitchers in the National League this year were both pre-arbitration players, and like I said, this helps those guys get credit for where credit is due. This leads to number 3 on the list, who is Hunter Brown, starting pitcher from the Astros. He made a total pre-arb bonus of $2,206,538. He placed third in AL Cy Young Award winning, which gave him a $1.5 million bonus. He then earned an additional $706,538 from the stat phase. This leads to number 4 on the list, one of our guys from the Seattle Mariners, one of the best pitchers in baseball overall this year. His 0.93 whip was, I believe, 3rd in Major League Baseball. He earned a total pre-arb bonus of $1,540,676. He ended up placing 5th in the AL Cy Young, which awarded him a $1 million bonus, and then he earned an additional $540,676 from the stat phase. And then rounding out the top 5, we have another technically Seattle guy, a guy from Seattle, Washington. Corbin Carroll, outfielder for the Diamondbacks. He ended up winning $1,341,674 pre-arb bonus. And Corbin Carroll actually made the All-MLB second team, which awarded him a $500,000 bonus. And then from the stat phase, he made $841,674. So that rounds out a summary of the pre-arbitration bonus pool for MLB and the top 5 award winners. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this bonus pool in general, what you think should be added in the next CBA, and make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next one.